Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Eat, Sleep, List, your home for list making for the betterment of our health. My name is Matt Johnson, and thank you so much for joining us for the first time or returning to the YouTube channel. It is Mirror List Monday. Let's make a list. So for today's video episode, where we're gonna be not gonna be so much reflective as much as it is goal setting. All right. It's been a couple weeks now since we've gotten this channel underway, and I want to stress the importance of making these lists. All right. So, variety of reasons. All right. It's a fun activity to do, which is something I believe I lightly touched on in the intro to Eat Sleep List. But I also want you, if you are putting these lists together, if you are, following along every time I post a video, it's a blueprint. It's something that's on paper, and that's half the work. And what I mean by that is that if you are looking at yourself, let's go back to personal accomplishments. All right. You have a blueprint. Okay, these are the 10 things I am most proud of accomplishing in my life. Whether it is ways to relax. Okay, here, I'm feeling stressed out. What are some things I like to do? Bam, 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 bam. Here are 10 things, 10 ways that I like to relax. It's a blueprint. It's getting stuff out there. It's acknowledging our likes, dislikes, our needs, our everything. The list, that is what the list is for, on top of being fun to just kind of jot down, think about, and just have ready to go. But not everything is reflective. I also want Mirror List Monday to be goal setting. All right. I want, especially for myself, I want there to be some kind of ambition every time for some of these lists. And I think it's important to have goals, right? To blueprint via making a list, goals and hopes that we have. Life is about setting goals for ourselves. I think if you don't have a goal or two, you're just kind of complacent. And that's from my own personal experience. Like, I feel like if I'm not working towards something, then I'm wasting my life away. It could be for a variety of things. Maybe it is like today's list is for a dream vacation. All right. These are the places I want to see. This is the place I want to go. This is something I want to experience. That's a goal. That's something to strive and work for. Eventually down the road, we'll take a look at things we want to do to better ourselves, right? That's a goal. That's setting goals for ourselves. And yes, it is. This is the part where we acknowledge what we want, what we desire, how we want to better our lives, how we want to change our lives, especially for our Mirror List Monday episodes. But it's about getting the blueprint, setting it down, and being like, hey, look okay, maybe I can tackle one or two of these. All right. You don't have to hit all 10 of every list that you create. If you can, it's really great. But it's a blueprint, it's a layout to doing something more. I want to do dream vacations because I actually have a really good story that involves dream vacations and how I actually accomplished one of them, and some hard truths that I had to look at within myself to finally go and experience that. But I guess we could start off with it. So, for those who don't know who I am on a personal level, football-wise, my favorite team, despite living in Buffalo, New York, Niagara Falls, New York specifically, but Western New York, which is Bills country, I am an Indianapolis Colts fan. I've loved the team since the days that Peyton Manning got drafted. And as someone who's lived in a place where it's so predominantly Bills fans, there's a lot of Cowboys fans, a lot of the big name franchise fans here. I always felt like lost. It was always really tough to be a Colts fan in Western New York because there's not really many of them. And I've been very fortunate to meet a handful. It's been really nice to kind of to have somebody to talk with about. But after I got, out of high school, out of college a little bit, I started making, like, I'm like, I gotta do this. Like, I want to go see the Colts in Indianapolis, whether it was the RCA Dome. Well, actually, by that time, it was Lucas Oil Stadium, but I wanted to go see them. And every year I'd say, hey, I'm going to go see them. I'm going to go see them. And every year, somebody would give me and this is my fault. This is absolutely 100% my fault. Somebody close to me would say, you don't need to do that this year. There's always next year. Whether it be just somebody close to me. It could have been a significant other. It could have been, family. It is what it is. But somebody would always say, hey, you can always go next year. Plan for it down the road. I finally went in 2018 after being exhausted of being handed excuses, right? I worked my tail off to be able to afford a trip. I knew it was the November right before I got married, getting married in January of 2019. And I had this epiphany when I said, I'm not going to ask anybody for permission. Aside from my mom. My mom was very gracious and let me go. It was her birthday weekend, but she knew how important it was to me. So I thank her for that endlessly. But I'm not going to really ask for permission. I'm just going to say I'm going to go. And if somebody wants to go, great. If not, so what? I'm going to go. The epiphany was that we all live once, right? We only have one life, period. And if you waste your time waiting for other people to give you permission to live the life that you want to live, you may not ever experience what you want to experience. So what I'm trying to say is, first of all, life is short. Life is incredibly short. And one thing I have learned to live, the mentality I've learned to live, is that tomorrow is not guaranteed. All right? What happens, and God forbid something, but let's say something happened, right? Every year I wanted to go to Indianapolis, and then somebody who didn't have the interest, the excitement, the passion to go visit and watch the Colts play in Indianapolis, if I just continued to let them do that, what if I died? What if I passed away? And it sounds morbid, but this is it's a fact that people have to acknowledge. What if I had never gotten to experience it because I listened to other people who did not care about this dream vacation for me as much as I did? So that's when I decided to rip off the Band-Aid. And I went 18, 19, 21, 22, and 23. So since 2018, 5 out of 7 years that I've gone and watched the Colts, 7 seasons, I've gone and watched the Colts play in Indianapolis. And I'm so glad that I did. I low-key I'm mad at myself for not doing it earlier, but also I'm glad that I finally realized that only I'm going to be as passionate about this stuff as I want to be. Everybody goes through life with people kind of giving their opinion whether it's wanted or not. And I listened to a lot of bad opinions that steered me away from Indianapolis for a long time. And that was a huge step in the right direction for me, focusing on my mental health, and what I want to be, what my goals are, what kind of life that I want to live, the kind of life that I'll look back on if I make it to an older age, and reflect and be like, damn, I did it. Like, I got to experience that. I got to see my favorite football team play in their respective city and be amongst like-minded fans, events with like-minded people. So very, very proud of that. So I want everybody, when we're making this list today, is to do that. Think of stuff. Think of things that you want to do, regardless of what other people want you to do. And eventually kind of plan, maybe check off a couple of these boxes, okay? Travel is so important. I think it's a really amazing experience that people should do. Now, I'm a big believer in the idea of building a life that you don't want to escape from. I think that's an important trait too. But I think it's really important to go and see the world, go and experience new cultures, new food, new languages. I mean, so much, right? The world is so much bigger than what's just outside our window. And the more we travel, the more we see, the more we experience, it's going to lead to a more fulfilling life and a better viewpoint of life. I've been on some wonderful cruises where I've seen countries that I thought I'd never see. I've gone to Disney World and seen various cultures. Going to Indianapolis and seeing people, how Indianapolis does and treats football. I got to say, my old soul loves Indianapolis because it's very tame compared to going to a Buffalo Bills game. With all due respect, it's more my speed and more it's more my pace. All right, not as chaotic as going to watch football with Bills Mafia, whether you're with the Bills or against the Bills. It's really, really cool and it's really rewarding when you can work towards getting and achieving this travel, right? Going to see these places that you want to see, and that's what we're going to be focusing our list on today. So start to think as you're planning, as you lay out. I'll start calling them blueprints, but lists. These lists are blueprints. Make it out, think it out, and decide what do you want to see? What is your bucket list of dream vacations that you want to take, and work towards it. And that is the plan for today's list. So I already mentioned some of these lessons, but I'm going to repeat them because they need to be stressed. All right, this is if I repeat something during my my very long monologues of whatever, it's because they're very important details. I need you to learn, listen to, and hang on to. And sometimes I need reminders for myself too. All right, the lessons from this list. You only live once, okay? There are no redos in life. I mean, yes, you get second chances for various things, but unfortunately, when we're all 6 feet under or cremated, again, as morbid as it sounds, that's it. There's no coming back, unless you really strongly believe in reincarnation, which, that is your choice. I'm not going to sit here and crap on you for that. I am almost 34 years old, and life has gone so fast. Post-high school, life has been an absolute blur, and there are a lot of regrets along the way. Okay, a lot of missed opportunities, for sure. Missed chances at seeing stuff that I hate and I regret, and I want to make up for. But we all only live once, and I don't know. I don't want to make it to old age where I can't do things and think, oh man, I wish I would have done this. I don't want to do that. And I'm glad that I have that self-awareness now versus, realizing it down the road when there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. The one thing that's really, another aspect that is really nice about setting up for these dream vacations, all right, another lesson, is working really hard. So the good things in life are, I think, best served in small doses. Okay. I'll give you a small example here. COVID. All right. During the COVID era, a lot of us were locked up in homes, hanging out, doing something that I think a lot of us wished we could always do, right? Many people, and thank you for everybody who did work, who was obligated to work, who were obligated to work based on what their job was. We thank you for your courageousness in going out there. But I had too much pleasure, so I didn't have to go and work. There were some small stretches, but the life that I had always complained and yearned for, right? Staying home, not being on a clock, Getting paid to not be home brought out the worst in me. It brought out a lot of anxiety. My weight became a huge issue. Laziness. Even though I was setting goals through podcasting and putting together a new studio and whatnot, it was too much of the good stuff to the point where I became a horrible, miserable version of myself. I love to work. I really do like to work. One of the happiest stretches of my life was like 2022 to summer 2023. I was working overtime like crazy. And I was working so much. I was working 80 to 100 hours a week in that stretch, sometimes with over 2 jobs. And it sounds miserable, right? It sounds absolutely miserable. But I could afford stuff. I could afford nice stuff. And then those times where I got to sit back and relax, I appreciated that more. So if I work 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 hours a week, all right, and I'm really looking forward to this vacation, I want to put away for this vacation, this dream vacation that may be only a once-in-a-lifetime trip, I'm going to enjoy that vacation a lot more because, one, I worked my tail off to get to it, and 2, this is my time to veg out, to relax, to enjoy myself. This is my philosophy. I know that a lot of people don't share that viewpoint on work. There are many people who do. But the good things in life, I feel like, they're best appreciated in small doses. If you're going on vacations every single week, it may be, from one side of the fence, it may seem like living the dream. But at the same time, on the other side of the fence, it may seem exhausting if you're actually doing it. Oh, God, I got to travel again. I got to get on this plane. I got to do this. I got to do that. Again, my life, good things, small doses. But remember that the life is short. That's my last little lesson spiel for this, is that life is too short. We never know when something is going to happen to us. We're going to lose somebody, going to lose something, or we're just not going to be there. It's scary out there, and when you really put it into perspective. So I want everybody to realize that, make an effort, absolute effort, to go to where you want, go see what you want to see, go experience what you want to experience, because it is very, very important to live a life well lived. All right, now it's time for my top 10. Of course, I'm doing this hopes of maybe making a connection, especially for this list too, this top 10 dream vacations. If you've done any of these things, any of these that I have mentioned, I would love to hear about it. I really, really would. Like, I'm not being like a facetious or sarcastic or anything. I want to hear your experiences of it, because it may just make me want to do it more. But I want, if you're watching this video, after this list, I want to make this connection. I want to help inspire you to want to do something, right? Go see these places. Go make an effort to see the world and go see what you want to see. A dream vacation also doesn't have to be this like super expensive thing where you're going across the world. It could be to a specific theme park. It could be legitimately anything. Go sit somewhere in the quiet cabin in the mountains for a weekend or a long week. It's whatever it is, but cannot stress enough. Blueprint when you're making these lists. But enough preaching, enough talking about the idea, the reason behind dream vacations. Let's get into my top 10. My number 10, being a big history buff as myself, not an expert, but a buff, a lover of history. I have always wanted to go across the Atlantic and go see England. It is obviously, I think everybody knows, spoiler alert, America and England has a long, rich history together, for better or for worse. And there's some really cool sights that, to see. Love to go see London. Big Ben, and all this stuff. There's a lot of important British influence on American culture too. You think back to the Beatles. I think the Stones are from there. I think a lot of music, right? The British invasion, a lot of that, coming over. But there's a lot of cool old architecture. England has obviously been a country that is lasted a lot longer, has been around a lot longer than the United States. So there's rich history in there. I would love to go and see that stuff. Very envious people who have. You're just basically, I'm going to name specific places, but basically Europe is a big thing for me. My number nine, it is to go see Hawaii. I want to go travel to Hawaii. I grew up on Elvis Blue Hawaii movie. The idea of Hawaii is just this beautiful island, and I think, at least it's what I'm being told, is that it's not really great between the natives and the native Hawaiians and the continental United States people, Americans. There's a little bit of an issue there, but it's beautiful. I'm a big water guy. Can't stress that enough. I love the idea of the islands. I've always wanted to go there. That was actually always my mom's dream vacation, is to go to Hawaii, and I wish I could afford to take her. I really do. I really wish I could afford to take her to experience that. But it's very expensive. It's very expensive. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm trying my best. I really am. But Hawaii is my number 9. Number eight. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I want to go see Mount Rushmore. All right. I'm a big, again, U.S. history kind of guy. We will do a U.S. presidents list for the 4th of July, which I'm very, very excited for. I want to go see Mount Rushmore. One of the things that I'm incredibly jealous that my dad did, he did a lot of traveling. He did a lot of vacations. Him and his family used to leave from here in Western New York and drive across the country and see some of the best sites. They actually just uncovered and converted, thank you to Rich Moranto, who owns this studio, runs Moranto Media. He converted all my dad's old childhood videos. And there's a clip of them seeing Mount Rushmore with their old, camera that has no audio recording capabilities, going to see Mount Rushmore, just to lay my eyes on it. All right. Yes, I can see this stuff over a phone, but it's just not the same. And as somebody who's as passionate about U.S. presidential history as I am, I feel like I have to. I'm almost obligated to go see it. And I hope I do get the chance someday. I know there's been a lot of people who say, it's really not that great, but it just doesn't mean as much to them as it does to me. So I hope I get to see it. Number 7, another one of those places that my dad got to see was Yellowstone and Old Faithful. I'm pretty sure that's the connection there. That's the one. There's video of Old Faithful kind of just blowing. The guys are just gushing water from 1977 when my dad was a kid. I'm a big parks guy, and I love nature parks. Okay, I love really nice nature parks. Really, they have a lot of abundance of animals, abundance of various scenery, and that seems to be the holy grail of national parks. So that's one that I would very much like to experience someday. It's probably the last of my. I probably have 2 that are really feasible, and it's Rushmore and this one. The other ones are going to get a little wild, but they are still my dream vacations nonetheless. Number 6. I want to go to Ireland. I knew one of my guys I coached with at Niagara Falls, known him for a long time, coached wrestling with in Niagara Falls. He went, I believe it was his honeymoon or a vacation with his wife to Ireland, and he explored some of the various castles, Blarney Castle, going all these different villages and towns and whatnot. And he had shot some incredible footage. I am like Italian is what my biggest nationality, ethnicity, obviously American, but as far as like where my family is from, Irish is the second most. It's Italian, Irish, and then a couple others. I'm basically a mutt. Cool place, a lot of beautiful natural scenery, and whatnot. I love Irish stuff, you know. Number 5. I think I'm doing this right. All right, forgive me. I'm very self-conscious because a little sneak peek. Last week when I was recording the Ways to List, very late at night, I completely skipped over talking about my number 4. So if you go back and watch it, the number 4, there's like a weird cut in the video. It's because I completely went from 5 to 3 without knowing, and it took me editing it in a whole nother week to come back and record the number 4 bit. So I apologize. I want to make sure this is right, so there's no delays in recording, and editing, getting videos out. My number 5 is Italy. That is obviously my main one. Grew up on Americanized Italian food, but obviously inspired by actual Italian food, right? I know a lot of people who've been there. My cousins, aunt, uncle, they're Nona, we call her, and she off the boat Italian. She grew up in Italy during the war, the Great War, and it was really cool. I wrote a cultural anthropology paper on her experience in Italy during that time, and it was I got 100 on it. It was great. I wish I still had that paper. I might still have it somewhere. But anyways, I've grown up seeing how just beautiful Italy is. The old architecture. I mean, there's so many different things to see from a historical perspective. The blue water. I love Italy. It's something that I'm very proud of. I'm not one of those people who just like, oh yeah, I'm Italian. That's not my whole culture or whatever, but I'm very proud of my being from Italy. So something I definitely want to see. I was very jealous. My wife and her sister, this is before we got married, but I think it was around New Year's time, she went over to Italy, spent about a week going over there, hopping from various town to town, city to city, staying over there. So jealous. She also, I remember this very vividly for some reason. She sent me a picture. One of the hostels that she stayed at, there was a toilet in the middle of a shower, and that was an experience. That was something I didn't know that I needed in life. So there's that, I guess. So that's cool. Number 4, this one, of just a visual beauty, is Switzerland, and there's a couple places. Like Montreux is one that always stands out to me. I love the Swiss Alps. I love seeing video of them. I love seeing pictures. It is absolutely stunning. I've seen a lot of really cool clips around the Swiss Alps, these little tucked away villages, towns, cities at night. And it looks so cool. You get this glow, right? All the lights from this city, and then there's the Swiss Alps in the background. Something I absolutely want to see and experience. Montreux, I think, is right by the water too, if I'm not mistaken. But like that's just right up my alley. I stayed. I think I told the story about the Adirondacks with my friends Anthony and Chris, and that was really cool. And I can't imagine that, around the Alps, which are so infamous, and if I've known about for God knows how long. Number 3. I want to go to Japan. All right. Japan, which is actually it's kind of fun. It's going to lead into our Fun List Friday recording. But Japan, to me, is like the hub of my childhood and pop culture. Okay. Especially Tokyo, but there's a lot of neat stuff to go and see in Japan. Um, Video games, right? Video games, Nintendo and Sony, Sega, they all started in Japan. Pokemon, hint, hint, wink, wink. I think I did it wrong. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Is originated in Japan. A lot of stuff that I love originated in Japan, and they have such a really cool, structure, history, and ancient history that I really enjoy learning about and seeing. Japan is one that I seen there was I'm a big Resident Evil fan, video game wise, and they have a cafe there, somewhere over there. They have a cafe dedicated to Resident Evil with various props and whatnot. I'm like, that is so cool. So Japan is on a must list, and it's very high. It's why it's my number 3. Just being the hub of pop culture, I want to go and see and experience it. Number two, I don't believe that I have any national connection to it, but I have liked reading about French culture. So I want to go see France. I want to go see, especially Paris. I did mention, my books list, how Napoleon is my favorite, if not one of my favorite historical figures. He is out there in a place called Les Invalides. I probably pronounced that very, very wrong, but you get the idea. His tomb is there. His sarcophagus is right there in a rotunda in France. There's so many beautiful places there. Versailles, the giant arch, the Eiffel Tower, and that's just to name a few. Would love to go and see France. There's a lot of rich history in France. A lot of major historical events happen in France. I would love to go and experience that firsthand for myself. It appears to be a very, very beautiful place from what I've seen. I've known a few people who have gone there. One of my wrestling teammates' grandmothers was from there. And she goes back relatively often, and she talks wonderfully about it. So France is my number 2. And my number 1, this is just a generalized one. There's no specific area, but I wanted to take a cross-country road trip like my dad used to have, right? Driving him and his 3 siblings with my grandmother and grandfather, driving across the country from New York to California. This idea has more so been in my head. In 11th grade, I had a U.S. history teacher by the name of Mr. Marasco. He has unfortunately since passed away, but he was a wonderful teacher. I loved having him for history. But he talked about his time back in the 60s when he was doing the hippie thing. And him and his friend took 6 months, got in a van, and traveled to every state, every country. I think that they mapped out, every state. They looking for parks, right? They tried to visit all the national parks. As somebody who appreciates the diversity in America and how much, how different every state and how different various cities and towns within each state can be and look and feel. That's something I would want to go do. I will never, ever, ever. Well, maybe I can. I gotta start speaking optimistically, right? That's the point of this list. I would love to take 6 months or whatever it is and do this, right? Take my family, take my camera, be able to afford all the bills that I will need to have paid, and afford to go and travel and stay at various places and go see the country. Financially, it is a very difficult objective. It was obviously much easier to do many, many years ago, but that is my dream vacation, is to go cross country, right? Go see every state, try some food, go sightsee, take my camera, take the family, take pictures. I would love that. I absolutely would. But there it is, everybody. That is my top 10 dream vacations list. encourage you. I'd love to start seeing some lists, some feedback. I'd love to see and hear what your dream vacations are. You can email, especially email your lists to me. eatsleeplistpod@gmail.com. My inbox is very, very open, and I would love to see your lists and even start up some kind of conversation, with you, whoever's watching. If you know me privately, you can send me your top 10s via text or Facebook Messenger or something like that. Or keep it private. Remember, keep your blueprint, your list. You can keep it amongst yourself. Just have it written down to reference whenever you're, whenever you're ready to take the next step of accomplishing some of these things. Or find a friend. Find a friend to go back and forth with and do this wonderful icebreaker of an activity of top 10 lists. But there it is, everybody. That is this video. Make sure you tune in. Fun List Friday. We're honoring our first non-holiday holiday, if that makes sense. Thursday is National Pokemon Day, but I want to stick to my plan of releasing videos Monday and Friday. So Friday's list is the Pokemon list to honor National Pokemon Day, a belated Pokemon Day. So I hope you tune into that. But regardless, thank you everybody who subscribed, liked, commented. Man, I am talking really goofy today. Commented. I don't know. Who's participated, who's given feedback, who's helped push any numbers on this on my YouTube channel. I do this out of love, not popularity, not validation. So every little bit, every single view, every like, every comment, every share goes so far towards keeping me, towards helping other people see this. So thank you so much. We'll talk to you on Friday. Till then, do you even list?